when we've invested in companies in the past, one of the things that slightly irritated us was the fact that companies would use our money to go and attend conferences all around the world, some good and mostly not. They'd go and meet the same people, have the same conversations, usually with the same outcome, which is that not much change. That's because the conferences were mostly the same format and didn't allow good people to meet good investors and good companies to tell their stories properly. I've spoken to a young lady called Joanne, who is going to introduce a tier one conference for the North American market, Canada, which doesn't actually have its own very own version. So Joanne, hello, and how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me this morning.
Well, look, we were going to have a conversation about this, and I thought rather than just you and me chat privately in the background, we'd record it. I'd hear firsthand and share with our audience and our members and subscribers what it is that you're intending to do. So tell me about your new conference. Why do you think the industry needs a new conference? And, would you agree that perhaps we've got too many conferences at the moment?
Yes and no. There are, as you say, these tier one conferences, and this is what we want to be. This is what we aspire to be. We are going to launch an inaugural conference. It'll be in Quebec City next year in June, June 19th to 22nd. We are launching a tier one conference that will be comparable to Denver Gold Forum, what Precious Metals does, or even what BMO does in Florida. Imitation is the best form of flattery, and so we've been called the BMO of the North. I'll take it. That's great. Most importantly, as you said, there are no tier one conferences in Canada to attract a global investor and to showcase Canadian mining, which begs the question, why? I mean, Canada is the mining capital of the world, both in terms of mining and finance. Why don't we have this type of conference here? So we think that there should be a circuit of tier one conferences that mining companies should attend, and we're going to be part of that circuit. And then if they want to attend, the smaller conferences, maybe they can attend them virtually, which again is a cost saving, right? So, and one of the things that I'm very, very firm on is that the conference will be an equal commodity conference. So we're not just precious metals. We're not the Denver Gold Forum. We're not the Precious Metals Summit. We are going to be a mining event. So that means that all commodities will be featured, including precious, base, green, battery, PGMs. Again, another reason for the interest from the mining community. We're a mining conference. And most importantly, one more thing, and most importantly, it's an incredible opportunity to feature the best of Canadian mining in Canada.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's such a big mining jurisdiction. I mean, it beggars belief that there isn't one already. But I've got to ask the question though. So I've known you for a while, but why you and why now?
So I've been in this industry for a very, very long time. So obviously, I have a very deep Rolodex and I have lots of relationships in this industry. But more importantly, when I started to manifest this, say 10 months ago, I would ask all of my colleagues and contacts in the industry, and the response was overwhelmingly positive, particularly from the banks and the brokers and the senior mining companies, the royalty groups. They all love this idea of, oh my God, let's do it in Canada, Quebec City. When I mentioned Quebec City, their eyes, their eyes all lit up. So, we thought, why not have this independently backed conference by the financial community as a whole, which in turn could bring in all of the right investors for the mining companies. So I quickly realized that not only was the mining community and the financial community as a whole wanting this, but given my contacts and years in the business, my experience in event management and corporate communications and IR and capital markets and all of that. Well, there was no one else who could really pull it together and get it done. So yes, it's a Herculean feat, but I think the reward will be amazing for me. Not in terms of monetary, of course, but in terms of providing something for the mining industry.
Okay. What about COVID? Isn't that a little thorn on the side?
Yeah, it's always there. And, we're not ignoring COVID. We're very aware that it's there. All of the sponsors who have committed is aware of it. We've had conversations about it. We are planning for an in-person conference. And we have all of the codicils in place and force majeure and everything else that will protect everyone for COVID. And if we have to go to a virtual format, like many of the other tier one conferences did during the height of the pandemic, then that's what we'll do. But we will not be a hybrid conference. I've experienced the hybrid firsthand, and it's not a good conference experience for a tier one mining conference, and for those people who have spent that kind of money to attend. It's not very good, in my opinion.
Let me just talk to me a little bit about the financing of this. These are not cheap things to put on. Okay, so who's supporting you? Who's backing you?
Well, to be honest, I'm pretty blown away by the response we've had. To date, we have Laurentian Bank, who's picked up the platinum sponsorship. We have Stifel GMP as a gold sponsor and also doing evening events. We've got Haywood Securities, Pear Tree, the Osisko Mining Group has come in as a sponsor. We're having in-depth conversations with 8 Capital, Ambest Capital. BMO as well is very interested in coming in as a sponsor. So they're all deciding on what level they're going to take. We have at least another 6 to 8 meetings with other large financial groups who have all expressed interest. I can't mention the issuers at this point because the contracts are underway, but I can tell you that there will be a mix of senior producers, mid-tiers, exploration and development companies that have all confirmed or expressed a desire to attend the conference.
Okay, so that sounds really good for the institutional guys and the big guys. There's your big blue chip names there, right? What about retail? Is there any room for them?
Oh yeah, my darlings in retail. Listen, I am absolutely not going to forget them. There will be a unique way in which the accredited retail investor can join in. Can't say too much about it now. It's kind of under wraps, but it will be groundbreaking and there will be an opportunity for them to participate.
Okay, and what in terms of actually in person or virtually?
It will be a virtual participation, but it will not interfere with the one-on-one meetings or anything else that's going on with the with the on-site people.
Okay, interesting. I mean, are you kind of you made reference to virtual conferences, and maybe some of the smaller conferences need to go that route, i.e., because the company's going to say we need to be more efficient with the way we spend our marketing budget, the way where we put it, and the amount of time we spend at these things. So, are you pro virtual conferences?
Very much pro. I think that when they're done well, they can be super effective. Again, we've seen through the pandemic that some of the smaller conferences where companies were spending a lot of shareholder money, as you mentioned, to travel to globe to go to all these conferences, went the virtual route. And these conference conveners quickly realized that the companies, they're making gobs of money. They got more people coming in. Their brand is growing, and so they don't need all the companies and investors to invest the time to actually attend a conference. And it's an amazingly effective way to do business. In fact, that's how I started my little conference company, Vid, in 2022 during the pandemic. I said, well, let's see if we can pull off a conference. We're now on our 5th virtual conference. We've grown into a great little media company with conferences and content for our clients. And Laurentian Bank has done all of their virtual conferences through Vid, and the 3rd one is happening right now as we speak.
Well, I think it's a great initiative. I'm glad it's sort of heading in the right direction. I want to hear more when you've got more to tell us. Do come on and talk to us. But the problem I think I hope you're able to solve is one where smaller, junior companies who perhaps don't have the budget to travel the globe, but do it anyway. Because it's the not just the cost of attending these conferences, whatever, $10,000-15,000. It's the flights there, it's the hotels, it's the food, the time away, not being focused on what they should be, that people perhaps don't realize. And I would like to see more of that money going in the ground for one, but they still have the need to meet investors. So I think virtual perhaps solves a little bit of that. Tier one projects, so tier one conferences will obviously appeal to the big guys. So will you be catering for those smaller companies in there too, but perhaps virtually, or did you say that you're going to try to stay away from that?
Yeah, we are going to be an in-person conference, and our price point is going to be reasonable. It's, when you're paying twelve and $14,000 US as a Canadian company, ouch! I don't care if you're senior or junior, that hurts. So we're going to be priced in Canadian dollars. I do have a large conference to put on, so I'm going to say to you, it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be very reasonable, and it will be priced in Canadian dollars.
Right. Okay. Well, look, let's see how it goes. We'll follow you with great interest, Joanne. Good work, good idea. It's needed. On a good one.
Thank you. We plan to do an announcement mid-December, so stay tuned.